Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine and I'm here showing up, being authentically myself and hoping to inspire you to do the same thing. Today I am at my parents' cottage, uh, but I'm up here for the weekend with myself. Notice that I didn't say by myself because I believe that when I'm on my own, I am with my own company and I enjoy my own company, so I'm not by myself. And I feel like that wording matters. Um, I think that we live in a world where we're told that if there isn't somebody around us validating our existence, that somehow we are worth less. And so we always have to have people around and things going on in order to say, oh, I'm worth something. Somebody is validating me and my existence and who I am, and they're reflecting back to me who I am. And so always having that need to have people around, and I think that kind of sets us up to be vulnerable to the opinions of the world. And we need to prioritize our own opinion of ourselves before anybody else's. But we can't do that if we never get quiet and spend time on our own with ourselves to decide what matters to us, who we want to be, what we really value. Because if we don't define those things for ourselves, then we're going to be blown around like a leaf in the wind at the whims of the world and society and the people around us, the demands around us. And then we don't have any sense of personal satisfaction with ourselves because we feel like we're not somehow measuring up, but we haven't even defined the yardstick for ourselves. And I think that deciding what it means to be happy, what we value, is the way that we can be more fulfilled and the way that we can be then happy on our own. Because if we validate ourselves, then we don't need the world to validate us. But we can only validate ourselves if we know what matters to us, who we want to be. Like, am I being the person that I want to be? Yes, great. Then I can validate that for myself. But if I haven't taken the time to define that, then I need the world to validate me. And so I think that's the difference between being comfortable being alone with yourself or being alone and feeling by yourself, is that you haven't taken the time yet to decide what are your metrics of being happy, being successful, what you value, so that you can anchor into that when the world around you offers its opinion or tells you who you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to achieve or whatever it is. And I'm just realizing that for myself because a lot of the things that I bought into for what success meant, for what, I'm supposed to be like or look like or act like I really bought into that. And I kept thinking, like, I'm not succeeding and I'm wrong and I have to change this and I have to change that. And so I was like so wound up and tight and uncomfortable with myself and uncomfortable being on my own because I wasn't questioning what I had been told about what it meant to be happy and successful and to accept myself. And now that I've been really doing a lot of work on myself and defining what I think those things are, what I actually value, I've suddenly realized that, hey, I really like myself. I approve of myself. I'm, I'm really happy with my life. Sure, there's things I'm still, striving to achieve and ways that I want to better myself and uh, improve the world and become more of who I am. But I'm really happy with myself. I feel like being able to say at age 40 that I genuinely like myself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, I like myself. I love myself. I approve of myself, and I'm 100% at peace with that. And there doesn't need to be anybody else chiming in, applauding for me. It's nice if that happens, but I'm giving that to myself. And I think that's why I'm much, much more comfortable and at ease right now being on my own. I've never come up to the cottage for a weekend on my own. I mean, various reasons for that. The opportunity hasn't always been there, but I know that even in the past when I've just been here for a short amount of time, like waiting for other people to arrive, I felt like uncomfortable and restless and like, okay, I just need other people to get here. I need other people to get here to validate me. And now I'm here on my own for the entire weekend. I could have asked people to come up here with me, and I chose not to because I just felt like, no, I want some space just for me in my own company, being in my own head with my own thoughts. It's going to be a absolutely gorgeous day, and so at some point I'm going to be lying on the dock, jumping in and out of the lake, and I'll do a little barbecue and eat on the deck and just enjoy my own company and make some videos for all of you. For myself, because I'm doing this because I love doing it. So that's just, it's such a good feeling. But the only way to get there, the only way to be comfortable being with ourselves is to really make peace with those parts of ourselves that we're avoiding looking at when we're on our own. Because that's what happens, right? When we're on our own, is that the things that we don't want to look at come up. So it takes a really brave, brave soul to be comfortable being on their own, seeing what comes up, dealing with what comes up, and also to just be on our own long enough to decide what really matters to us. It took me a really long time to start regularly making these videos, and it was a combination of feeling like, well, the world says that if you start making videos on YouTube, then your measure of success is how many likes you have and how many views you have. And so every time that I would start trying to make videos and put myself out there, I'd make a couple videos, I didn't have any views or likes, and then I would be like, okay, I'm gonna stop this because I'm failing. And then more recently, I've redefined what success means as far as making videos. And success means that I show up for the process, that I just show up and I do it. And that's success. It's not if you like my video. It's not if you watch my video. If nobody watches what I make, it doesn't matter. I showed up for the process. I used my voice. I said what I needed to say. And I put it out there. And that's all that I can do. That's what I have control over. And redefining that for myself means that I can show up for the process in a way that's fulfilling for me. But that could only happen when I re-examined what I had been told by the world. Well, this is what success is in this medium, in this arena. And so I think that's what we all have to do, is that every area, like if you were to look right now at every area where you feel like, oh, I don't feel like I'm succeeding here. I don't feel like I'm really measuring up. That marker for success, for saying, yes, I am successful, yes, I am, like, yes, I'm not. Where did that come from? Is that yours? If it's not, like, is it something that you want to adopt? Do you want to change it somehow? Because if you do want to change it, you can change it. You can suddenly say, hey, I this is not my idea of success. Like for a really long time, I felt bad about the fact that, oh my God, I'm 40 years old and I don't own a house yet. Because, I live in a city where a lot of people who are my age already own homes. And so it's like, well, you don't own a home. You're a failure. You're a loser. And it's like, hold up a second here. The reason that I don't own a home is that I spent a good part of my 20s and 30s traveling the world. I spent countless down payments because I wanted to explore and see what life has to offer. And I spent money on, you know, educating myself about the world and people and participating. And if somebody were to tell me right now, well, Jasmine, if you want, you could be 40 years old and own a home, but all of the traveling you did, all of the amazing things that you went through, and the person that you became as a result of going through all that, like, you would have to give that up, but you would get to have a home now at 40. I would say absolutely not. And so I think that's what we all have to do, is that we all have to look at, what do I value? Am I succeeding then based on what I value? So that when the world comes at us and tries to define, well, you have no right to be happy because you have not met this metric for success, we can just let that roll off and say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. That's not my definition. And so how does that tie into being comfortable, being on our own? I think we're uncomfortable on our own because we're looking at the parts of ourselves that we haven't accepted, that we haven't made peace with, right? That's what happens when we're on our own. We're really face to face with ourselves. And if we're not at peace with ourselves or where we're at in life, then being on our own is really hard. So part of the way that we get more comfortable being on our own is redefining the parameters for loving and accepting ourselves. And if we find that when we're on our own, things come up that we realize, actually, you know what? I know that I need to change this. I know that this is an area of my life that, even in my own eyes, I'm not measuring up. Then we have the power to change that. But that can only happen when we take time to really tune into ourselves, and to listen to what's inside without the whole external world constantly like feeding in and saying, this is how you're supposed to be, and this is who you're supposed to, be achieving to be, and this is what you're supposed to have, and like all of that noise. So, you don't have to have a cottage to come to find that peace and stillness. I think that that's something that we can each carve out, even if you're just 5 minutes in your car on your own, or sitting in a park somewhere, just really taking a moment, taking a few deep breaths, and seeing what's there. Because I think that as an adult, this is one of the superpowers that if we develop, we become so powerful. Because if we don't need anything or anyone from the outside world to validate us, if we are entirely at peace with being ourselves, then we have so much more freedom. So many more things are open to us because we're not trying to get anybody to validate us, because we're validating ourselves, we're loving ourselves, we're accepting ourselves. And so if anybody else validates and accepts us, well, that's great, that's a bonus, but that's not what really matters, you know? And that's why I'm finally able to do these videos, because I'm validating myself in them. And just the fact that I'm showing up and doing them, that's success. It's not views and likes and subscribers and followers and whatever. It's just I showed up and I did it. I used my voice to share something that I've discovered that's helping me make my life better, and I'm sharing it with other people because maybe they can use it. You know, maybe you can use it. And if you can, great. And if you can't, that's okay too. So anyways, that's kind of my thing for today. And the question I'm going to leave you with is, are you comfortable being in your own company, being with yourself? Or do you feel like when you're on your own, you're by yourself? Because that's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. And if you're not comfortable being with yourself, why not? It takes a very, very brave person to really answer that question, to say, here's why I'm not comfortable with myself. And then to take steps to potentially change that so that you can be good with yourself. Because we all deserve to be happy, but no one else can make us happy. You can get all the accolades from the outside world, but if you don't feel good with you, if you're not at peace with you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's never going to be enough. But if we fill up our own selves, and if we approve and validate ourselves, then we aren't walking around like beggars to other people going, please validate me, please love me, please accept me. Because it's like, I love myself, I validate myself, and it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't, you know? And that's a really peaceful place to be, because it's a groundedness in our sense of self, and that is the greatest achievement that I think any of us can aspire to in this lifetime, is just to be fully at peace with ourselves, resting in our own hearts and souls, and just saying, I'm good, all is well, and I love and approve of myself. So I'm sending you a lot of love, but I hope more than anything, you're loving yourself. Have an awesome day.